The architect of the mind, why self-education is your ultimate currency. Most people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. They breathe, they walk, they work, but they stop growing. The tragedy isn't death, the tragedy is stagnation. Somewhere along the line, curiosity is replaced by routine, hunger is replaced by comfort, growth is replaced by excuses, and the mind, the most powerful asset a human being will ever possess, is quietly placed into retirement decades before the body ever gives up. Today, we break that cycle. Today, we talk about why self-education is not just important, but essential. Why it is the ultimate currency in a world that changes faster than any generation before us has ever experienced. And why the people who win in the next decade will not be the ones with the most degrees, but the ones with the most disciplined minds. Because the truth is simple, but uncomfortable. Formal education can make you a living. Self-education can make you wealthy. But more importantly, it can make you free. From the moment we are born, we are handed a script. Go to school, study hard, get good grades, graduate, find a stable job, climb the ladder, retire, hope for the best. And for a long time, that script worked. But here's the cold reality most people never stop to question. The system that trained your parents is not designed to protect your future. It's designed to produce compliance, not dominance, employees, not architects, followers, not leaders. School teaches you how to pass tests. Life demands that you solve problems. School rewards memorization. The real world rewards adaptation. School tells you what to think. Self-education teaches you how to think. When you walk across that graduation stage and they hand you a diploma, that piece of paper is not the finish line, it's the starting block. Yet most people treat it like a pension for the mind. They believe education is something you complete instead of something you commit to for life. And the moment you stop learning, your value starts leaking, quietly, invisibly, relentlessly. In a world driven by algorithms, automation, and artificial intelligence, knowledge has an expiration date. What made you valuable 5 years ago might make you irrelevant tomorrow. Comforting routines turn into invisible cages, and people don't fail because they aren't smart enough. They fail because they stopped upgrading themselves. Your mind is your primary real estate, not your house, not your car, not your investment account. Those are side effects. The real asset is the 3-pound organ between your ears, because everything you will ever build in your life must first be built there. Rohn said it best, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll build a fortune. But even beyond money, you'll build capacity, judgment, vision, leverage. The American dream was never about a paycheck. It was about potential, about the freedom to grow, to expand, to become more than you were yesterday. And that dream doesn't come knocking on your door. You construct it brick by brick through relentless self-development. Every book you read rewires your perception. Every skill you master increases your leverage. Every uncomfortable idea you confront sharpens your edge. The wealthy don't think differently because they are rich. They are rich because they think differently. And thinking differently is a learned skill. Here's the part most people avoid. Learning is uncomfortable. Growth demands humility. It forces you to admit you don't know. It puts you in rooms where you are not the smartest person. It challenges beliefs you've held for years. And that discomfort is exactly why most people stop. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. People don't quit learning because they lack intelligence. They quit because comfort feels safe, familiar, predictable. The same job, the same conversations, the same problems, the same excuses. But comfort is expensive. It costs you growth. It costs you relevance. It costs you your future. Every level of success requires a version of you that does not yet exist, and the only way to become that version is through deliberate self-education. Not random motivation, not inspirational quotes, structured, intentional learning. If you are not feeling the burn of new ideas challenging old beliefs, you are not growing. You are just aging. To lead, you must read. To earn more, you must learn more. There is no shortcut. The most dangerous mindset in the modern world is, "I already know this." That sentence has buried more potential than failure ever could. Because failure teaches, ego blinds. Self-education is not about collecting information, it's about transformation. It's about upgrading your decision-making framework, seeing patterns others miss, understanding cause and effect at a deeper level. When two people face the same opportunity and get radically different outcomes, the difference is not luck, it's perspective. And perspective is shaped by what you feed your mind daily. Garbage in, garbage out. If your inputs are gossip, outrage, and distraction, your outputs will be confusion and stagnation. But if your inputs are books, mentors, and disciplined thinking, your outputs will be clarity and momentum. This is why self-education is the ultimate currency. It compounds, skills stack, knowledge builds leverage, and unlike money, it can never be taken from you. Markets crash, jobs disappear, technology shift, but the person who can learn faster than the environment changes will always land on their feet. The future does not belong to the strongest, it belongs to the most adaptable. And adaptability is trained. You don't need to know everything, you need to know how to learn anything. That is the meta skill. That is the unfair advantage. The world will not slow down for you. Competition will not become kinder. Systems will not become simpler, but your capacity can expand to meet the pressure if you choose growth over comfort. Self-education is not a hobby. It's a responsibility to yourself, to your family, to the future version of you that is either built intentionally or left to chance. Every night you choose Netflix over knowledge, you are voting for the life you'll have 5 years from now. Every morning you choose discipline over distraction, you are quietly separating yourself from the crowd. No applause, no recognition, just progress. And that's how real transformation works, silently, consistently, relentlessly. Because in the end, the most valuable thing you can ever own is not money, status, or titles. It's a mind that keeps growing. And once you understand that, you stop asking for permission, you stop waiting for opportunity, you become the architect of your own future. This is where it begins. The alchemy of action, turning information into impact. Information without execution is just hallucination. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do with what you know. We live in the most informed generation in human history, and paradoxically, one of the most stagnant. Never before has knowledge been so cheap, so accessible, so abundant. 1,000 years ago, a book was a treasure. Today, it's a tap on a screen. And yet, despite all this access, most lives don't change. Not because people don't know enough, but because they don't apply enough. We are drowning in information and starving for transformation. This is the age of infobesity. Podcasts consumed like snacks, YouTube videos binged like candy, motivational quotes scrolled, liked, and forgotten. We confuse consumption with progress. We mistake stimulation for growth. And nothing changes. Because passive learning feels productive, but produces nothing. The mind was never designed to be a warehouse. It was designed to be a workshop. Active learning is the dividing line between those who admire success and those who build it. Between spectators and architects. Between people who sound smart and people who become valuable. Active learning means you don't read a book to finish it. You read it to use it. You underline not to decorate the page, but to interrogate the idea. You argue with the author. You test concepts in real time. You extract one principle and stress test it against reality before the day is over. Because knowledge that is not tested is just theory, and theory never changed the world on its own. America was not built by thinkers alone. It was built by tinkerers, doers, builders who learned by breaking things, adjusting, and trying again. Henry Ford didn't wait for permission. Thomas Edison didn't wait for certainty. Steve Jobs didn't wait for consensus. They learned by doing, and they did relentlessly. Jobs once said that everything around you that you call life was made up by people no smarter than you. That realization is electric if you act on it, terrifying if you don't. Action is the alchemy that turns information into impact. And yet, most people hesitate. They wait for clarity, for confidence, for the perfect plan. They want certainty before movement. But clarity is a reward for action, not a prerequisite. You don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into new thinking. This is where discipline enters the room. Discipline is not intensity. It's not motivation. It's not hype. Discipline is the quiet agreement you make with yourself to show up, especially when no one is watching. You don't find time for growth, you make it. If you're waiting for a free hour to magically appear, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Growth doesn't happen in spare time. It happens when you prioritize it. The most successful people in the world don't have more hours. They have stronger boundaries. They protect their mornings. They defend their attention. They understand that focus is the new IQ. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If the first thing you feed your mind is chaos, news, notifications, other people's agendas, you start the day reactive, fragmented, behind. But if you feed your mind before you feed the world, you reclaim control. 30 minutes of intentional reading, one chapter, one idea, One actionable insight. Done consistently, it compounds faster than motivation ever could. Your commute can become a classroom, your car a rolling university, audiobooks instead of outrage, lectures instead of loops of the same songs. The average person spends hundreds of hours a year traveling, most of it mentally wasted. Warren Buffett once said the best investment you can make is in yourself, and he meant it literally. He reads for hours every day, not because he needs to, but because he understands compounding at the intellectual level. What you feed your mind today decides the options you'll see tomorrow. And that means you must become ruthless with inputs. Your brain is not a democracy. Not every thought deserves a vote. Not every piece of content deserves access. If you feed your body junk, you expect fatigue. If you feed your mind junk, celebrity gossip, doom scrolling, outrage, you should expect shallow thinking and weak decisions. High-level outcomes require high-level inputs. This is not about isolation, it's about filtration, because the real battlefield of the modern world is attention. Whoever controls your focus controls your future. And once you begin acting on what you learn, something powerful happens. You fail. And that's not a bug, that's the feature. In the American spirit of innovation, failure is not the opposite of success, it's the tuition. Every attempt that doesn't work gives you data, feedback, direction. When you try and fail, you've just received an education no book can give you, experience. Most people fear failure because they attach their identity to outcomes. They think a mistake defines them, but masters separate self-worth from results. They see failure as information, not condemnation. The messy middle is unavoidable. Every skill looks awkward before it looks elegant. Every master was once a disaster. The difference is they didn't stop. Elon Musk didn't know how to build rockets. He learned by reading, asking questions, and trying, and failing, repeatedly, publicly, expensively. But he understood something most people don't. Embarrassment is temporary. Stagnation is permanent. Progress favors those who are willing to look foolish longer than others are willing to try. The secret to getting ahead is getting started, and the secret to getting started is shrinking the task. You don't master a field, you master a concept, then another, then another. Small, consistent execution beats massive intention every time. One page implemented is worth more than 10 books admired. One experiment is worth 1,000 opinions. And as you act, your confidence grows, not because you feel brave, but because you become capable. Confidence is not a personality trait, it's a byproduct of competence. Which brings us to the final challenge. Don't be a fan of growth, be a practitioner. Commit to the next 6 months of radical self-evolution, not perfection, progress. Read books that make you uncomfortable. Listen to voices that challenge your assumptions. Apply one idea per day. Fail fast, adjust faster. 6 months from now, you will not recognize the person you used to be if you stay consistent. Because the world does not pay you for your potential, it pays you for your utility. Degrees impress people, skills move markets. Become so valuable that you don't need to beg for opportunity, you attract it. Master the art of learning, master the discipline of execution, and you will master the art of living. This is not motivation. This is a mandate. The transformation doesn't start tomorrow. It starts with your next action. And once you begin, there is no going back.